It's another raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draftrawthentic. Yes, I'm finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a raw one, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you can tell by the title, this will be the draft forecast for the Green Bay Packers. Yes, Green Bay Packers. Now, you may be wondering, what is a draft forecast if this is your first time watching any of my videos? A draft forecast is basically predicting where players will be 3 years down the road after being drafted. And in doing that, I will be naming who will be the biggest boom pick, the biggest bust pick, and the late round steal. Now, I won't be going through every single player that the Packers drafted in the 2018 NFL Draft. Because I've already done that in a previous video where I've reviewed the whole draft for every team in the league. So if you scroll down in my videos, you will eventually find the Green Bay Packers. It should be right next to, like, you know, obviously the Lions and the Vikings and the Bears and stuff like that. Those videos, I made sure that I put those in order. Now, when doing this new series that I'm doing of these draft forecasts, the order is going to be mixed up. It's going to be all over the place. So if you're trying to find your certain favorite team, it won't be there. But I will recommend you that if you're watching this video, that you still subscribe, because you never know. You may want to know what the competition is doing, like the Minnesota Vikings draft forecast, which I've already put out, or the Chicago Bears, or the Detroit Lions. You may want to know who you may want to look out for. But anyway, without further ado, instead of wasting your time, Green Bay Packers fans, this is your draft forecast. So with the biggest boom pick that I think will be for the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to go with Jaire Alexander. Yes, I'm going to go with Jaire Alexander. Now, I'm not just trying to pick the first round pick and say he's going to be the biggest boom pick. I'm not trying to do that. But when it comes to Jaire Alexander, to me, he has the highest ceiling if healthy. The problem is that he was hurt last season with the huge ankle injury. He's kind of a smallish corner, so those type of corners tend to get hurt pretty easily. But when it comes to Jaire Alexander, as a player, just a pure player, this guy can do pretty much anything that you want from a corner. He can tackle. He can cover a man coverage. He's pretty okay and solid in zone. He's got solid ball skills. And even if he's not the greatest tackler, just to go back to that tackling comment, the thing is that he's a willing tackler. So if you ever see one of my videos and I sit here and say, oh, he's a great tackler, or he's a cornerback, it's more he's a willing tackler, and that's what I want to see from corners. And honestly, him and Josh Jackson, they pretty much kind of, I wouldn't say they're the same, but in terms of skill set and everything, because obviously Jaire Alexander, even just recorded with his time speed, he's a really good man-to-man cover guy, while Josh Jackson struggles with his hips and his feet quickness, which is a little bit evident in his 40 time that he ran, even though I don't try to put too much stock in that, and I still think he's a great corner. I just feel as though Jaire Alexander is on a higher level, and he's going to just give you a little bit more what you're looking for. Now, Josh Jackson, I can say this, and I don't want to get in with it too much, but Josh Jackson is a corner that that I feel as though can still be a playmaker. And honestly, he's a guy that if for some reason Jaire doesn't work out, which I don't believe, Josh Jackson's a guy that should work out. But overall, Jaire Alexander, to me, has the highest ceiling, which makes him the biggest boom pick for the Green Bay Packers. Now, to really put into explanation, because I don't think I did that, when it comes to the biggest boom and the bust pick, I will be looking at the first three players, or basically the first players picked in the first 3 rounds. So with the Green Bay Packers, they had 1, 2, 3, so it wasn't that hard to really do this. So anyway, the biggest bust pick, obviously, to me, will be Oren Burks, the linebacker from Vanderbilt. Oren was a guy that he just didn't do it for me in terms of coverage, in terms of being a tackler, in terms of shedding blocks and different stuff like that. He just didn't do it for me. I think that he's very athletic, and that's his biggest trait, and that's the thing that he is. He's just athletic. There's nothing about him as a player that, to me, thinks that he's going to be one of these next, like, really, really good linebackers. He's no Nick Barnett. He's no A.J. Hawk, you know. He's none of those type of players. Like I said, he just has athleticism. And that honestly could hurt him. Now, being in a 3-4 is a situation where he can beat an athletic linebacker. And I say he wasn't that great in coverage. He's okay in coverage. I won't say he's terrible, but he's okay in coverage. I think he's just okay with everything, and that's what makes him a biggest bust pick. Now, being an athletic linebacker in the 3-4, if you have a solid, just run-stuffing linebacker, having a guy like Oren Burks actually can complement, and those two linebackers can work together and make a really good tandem. So maybe that's what the Green Bay Packers were looking at when they chose him in the 3rd round, but he's just a player that I'm just not a fan of, and I don't think is going to do much in the NFL as a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I've already done the boom pick. I've already done the bust pick. Now it's on to the late round steal. With the late round steal, I had a hard time choosing between two guys. And the reason why I had a really hard time with it is because these two guys, one guy was a player that I thought would have been drafted way ahead of where he was drafted. And if you're a Green Bay Packers fan, you know who I'm talking about. And another player was a guy that I thought would actually go a little bit later in the draft, but I liked a lot to a point where I thought that he was going to be one of those underrated players within the draft. And he actually ended up going higher than the other guy. And they both play the same position. And that is obviously Jamon Moore, wide receiver from Missouri, and Equanimeous St. Brown, wide receiver from Notre Dame. The reason why I have to choose both. Now, I wanted to just choose Equanimeous St. Brown because Jamon Moore is probably going to have, he's going to have a little bit more hype to him. And looking at him as a late round, prospect, fourth rounders, I'm not like, I don't sit there and think of them as being late round prospects because in this day and age, a 4th rounder is just as good as a 3rd and 2nd round guy to me. But I have to put both because they are still day 3 picks. Jamon Moore is probably one of the most physical receivers. And when I say physical, I mean like literally his run after the catch, the way he catches the ball, he snatches it out the air. He loves to just kind of give a little contact. He's very physical, the way he runs and everything. One of the most physical receivers that I've seen on tape. And it's just, it's gravitating. This is something that you want to see from a player, something especially a receiver. When you're a Baltimore Ravens fan like me and you're used to over the last few years seeing an Anquan Bolden and a Steve Smith, and you see that aggressiveness that both players had, when it comes to someone like Jamon Moore, it just makes you like, oh wow, like this guy has a special trait that you don't see with a lot of college receivers. And then when it comes to Equanimeous St. Brown, you have a very just gifted, athletic type of wide receiver that he's really, really tall, but he has speed and he can run routes and he's got solid hands. It's one of those things, it's that combination that says that, hey, this dude can be really, really good. And I heard through the grapevine that he's been having the best training camp out of all of the rookies for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'll say this, the Packers are geniuses when it comes to choosing receivers. I am the type of person, I like Geronimo Allison when he was coming out in the draft like 2-3 years ago. And it's kind of crazy that now he's not say he's a household name, but he's a pretty known name definitely within the Green Bay Packers organization and throughout the NFC North. And now you got a guy like Equanimeous St. Brown that's pretty much almost the same, but a little bit better. He's got the speed, like I said, he's got the hands, he's got the route running ability. He's got the work ethic that's going to beat all of those guys. And honestly, I look at his other 2 brothers, if you didn't know, he has 2 other brothers that are receivers. One go to USC, the other one go to Stanford. Both of them are absolute beasts. And they all work hard. They work like super duper hard to a point where it's like beyond just, it's amazing how hard these guys work. But in retrospect, when it comes to those 3 guys, just the brothers in particular, they are a complete opposite of the Ball brothers. I think that just overall from the sport that they play in, they're going to be better than the Ball brothers. I don't want to get off topic with that, but I want to just say that the work ethic that their mother and father instilled in these boys, they're going to be the next great receivers in the NFL. And I think Equanimeous St. Brown definitely has a chance to be an exceptional wide receiver. So, in last with all I'm saying, if you like this video, please hit that like button. If you didn't like what I had to say about any of these players, or you think that I missed a player, or I should talk about something else, or whatever you want to say, just please comment so we can debate about it. Please share this video so other people see it. Other people can comment and debate, and we can build this draft community. And please hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content. Once again, this is Draftrawthentic. I thank you for watching. Goodbye.